r/AskReddit, what are the things that are most useful 50 years ago that is non-existent nowadays? My former boss, now 77, told me that when he started working, calculator was the name of a person's job, not a device. 50 years ago, things like typewriters and rotary phones were essential, and now they're pretty much non-existent. Typewriters were the go-to for any serious writing, and rotary phones were the kings of communication. Fast forward to today, and we've got sleek laptops and smartphones that do it all. Times change, and so do the tools we rely on. IBM's electric typewriter. Built-in liquid paper correction. Electronic golf ball type head. Most satisfying high-tech typewriter ever. Rolodex. Still have mine, in a box somewhere. Those and the little black address books. We kept ours by the phone, though my mom also had one in her purse. I got one in middle school. I'd keep all my friends' numbers in. Everyone in it is probably dead. I know a guy who bought a watch on the street. Instead of Rolex, it was a Rolodex. Traditional film cameras were widely used for photography before the digital era. Nowadays, digital cameras and smartphones have largely replaced them. Film camera use is definitely a niche hobby now, but there has been a resurgence in recent years. 50 years ago was 1974, which was near the peak for 8-track tapes. A couple teens on our Christmas buying lists asked for basically Polaroid cameras. It's a shame because in my opinion the quality of film is far superior than digital phone cameras. Roadmap. Edit, I just want to add that while yes, road maps still exist, compared to what they were in the 70s late 2000 they are basically non-existent. Think of any profession/company that sends workers to work sites or does deliveries within a 100-mile radius, and in the 70s every single one used maps. Today 0 of them use maps. I always tell myself I should probably get a copy just in case if I ever lose signal or something. Trusted mainstream journalism. 50 years ago, we watched Walter Cronkite and believed what he said. He wasn't trying to sell his personal brand or really doing any editorializing, he was just reporting the news. Same thing with newspapers. Everyone read them and we didn't have much reason to question what we were reading. We had trust in the integrity of the journalism. Fairness doctrine, we hardly knew yet. Credit card imprinters with layered carbon paper. Cashier needed to look up the CC hashtag in a booklet. Every time. When I worked at Lowe's about 15 years ago, we had an electrical blackout and we were told to use the card imprinters to keep doing business. Nobody knew how to use them except an old cashier, who had to go to each other cashier and teach them. It was a rough day. The Thomas Guide was a must-have for any road trip. That's for the perspective. When I think 50 years ago, my mind automatically goes to the 1950s. Damn, I'm old. Or a AAA triptych. One of those Chick H. Key beer openers. A typewriter repairman. Quaaludes dealer. Wish Quaaludes would make a comeback. God, I miss Quaaludes. Ditto machines. Photocopiers were starting to take hold in business, but ditto machines were everywhere in education. Ah yes. Nothing like a freshly printed ditto. A bit cold, lovely chemical smell, and striking purple print. Telephone switches. Classified ads. Personals. Newsstands. Asterisk mechanical telephone switches. FTFY. Digital switches are still very much in use. Ashtrays. So many ashtrays. The last album released on 8-track was Fleetwood Mac's Greatest Hits in 1988. I'm amazed it held on that long. I grew up around smokers. Almost my whole family. I always remember ashtrays around. It turned me right off of smoking. Also, ashtrays in cars. Those metal flip ones in the doors or console. Don't see those anymore at all. The flimsy tinfoil ashtrays in McDonald's. Oh god, it was so gross. Pneumatic tube mail. Still used in hospitals for blood samples and other lab work. My old Costco used to have one for sending $$ to the back room. Most hospitals I've worked at still use these to launch meds from the central pharmacies to whichever unit needs a med. Sorry, still there. Not totally gone, but I'd argue we need more cobblers and seamstresses. Repair your clothing, make it fit better. Just sent in my boots for a resole which will give them another 5 years vs my tennis shoes making it 3 years before they look like crap. Can openers, the kind that punched a hole in a soda can, which was replaced with a pop top. I was a cassette fan. 8 tracks always jumped in the middle of a song. Church key. Fax machines were once a staple in offices for sending documents quickly. With the advent of email and scanning technologies, fax machines have become obsolete. Except for the medical industry, because apparently it's way easier to send PII on an unencrypted dinosaur than it is to encrypt an email. Who else was picturing the 1950s? Encyclopedias. Those little swivel things to keep telephone cords from getting tangled. I have no idea what you're referring to, but I have a landline in the office, and the other day was I getting so irritated at how tangled my phone cord was. I googled how to untangle a phone cord and came across a YouTube video. My god, their suggestion worked. Magazine rack. Cigarette ashtrays in restaurants. Cars with wing windows. They will make a comeback, just you wait. TV antennas. Every house had one in the 1970s, some would be 30 higher than the roof. Cable TV didn't really knock them out until the 80s. Cable TV was originally marketed as TV of the future. No commercials because cost was covered by subscription fee. A very high percentage of programming is reruns of old programs, and littered with commercials. What a lie. Carburetor rebuild kits. Even for things that still have carbs. I have a wood chipper, and a carb rebuild kit was $18, and a new Chinese carb was $15. Right up there with carb harmonizers. Laundry wringer. My grandmother still has one collecting dust in the corner of her basement. I used to deliver appliances in high school and college. You would be surprised how many wringers we replaced with regular washing machines in the mid to late 90s. They were more labor intensive, but they could clean amazingly well. Calling 411 or the number for time and temperature. TV guide. Landline telephones. Yellow pages. Now you can Google everything and easily get what contacts to reach out to. A low intensity flashlight. Most people just use their phones these days. I think this might depend where you are, to a degree. I live in the middle of nowhere in the mountains of New York, and not having a flashlight sounds abhorrent to me. Bumper jack for your car. Phone booths. Shorthand notes. All secretaries were trained to take shorthand notes. My diapers that I used to wear 50 years ago. Keep them, you'll use them again. If you live long enough, you'll be wearing diapers again. Organized labor power. Hope for a better future. Labor unions are as strong in Sweden as they were back in the 1970s. One of our unions just took on Tesla. How about white pages? Can you imagine how people would freak out if you told them you were going to put their name and cell number on a list and deliver it to everyone in town? Now if that person didn't give you their number, your soul. Numbers of union members is increasing again. Labor kicked some serious ass last year. That GM progressive strike, one line in one plant goes on strike. That way everyone doesn't have to suffer, was great. GM was wailing about how paying the workers would bankrupt the company. As soon as the strike was over, how about a stock buyback? What lying liars. Surprised to not have seen the Dewey Decimal System mentioned. Going into a public library and having to use that to find where your book was. That's still how you find a book. Maybe you mean the card catalog when you sift through the cards to locate the number. Wall phone. Encyclopedias. Slide rule. In '74 they were still the only real Western calculator available for most engineering roles. Logarithms were still in books full of tables to be looked up. Hello everyone. Thanks for sticking to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to humbly ask you to subscribe to the channel. According to my statistics, 100% of my viewers in the past 28 days are not subscribed. I have always wanted this channel to reach 1,000 subscribers, and if you want to support and be a part of that, subscribe. It's free and it's an awesome way to support the channel. Thanks again, Reddit glitch out.